So hey garden friends, lost my shoe. We are going to plant a rose today. Now here's my idea. This is my greenhouse, my main greenhouse. My bespoke greenhouse is to my right. I have plants sitting here that need to be planted and done, whatever, but that's not the point. I want to plant this rose. This is a Climbing America in this barrel. Now this barrel, I know the bottom is rotted out of it. The gophers do come up, so I'm going to plant it inside of the pot. I don't think this may have been grafted, so I may need to plant it deeper. I don't know. Hey garden friends, welcome to Flower Patch. We are going to plant this. Hey garden friends, welcome to my garden. We are going to plant this Climbing America rose into this barrel. I'm going to train it up the greenhouse to the front and just to make it really pretty. I love roses climbing up things. We have thought of putting like a little, what is that called, where it comes up over the door? Anyways, a shed of some kind, because it gets hard to shovel snow here. But I had been going to put like a deck box planter here in front of this panel and plant it in that, which it would have the bottom and that would protect it from the gophers. I do have a deck box. I don't know how well it would hold up. And that's still a possibility. I don't know. I need to really think about this, because if I put it in this barrel, I have to move a delphinium. To get it deep enough, I'd really have to dig it out. So it might be better just to go ahead and do the box idea. This is a narrow walkway, so I wanted the narrow planter. I had thought I would build a wood one, but I'm just not getting to it, and I want to get this in the ground or planted. So that's what I'm going to do. I've still got a debate on that or the planter. One thing about the planter is I could move it very easily. This, I'd have to dig the rose up. So yeah, maybe I should go for the planter again. The only reason I was going for that is I didn't know how long that planter would last, but you know, things can be moved. If it fell apart, I mean, it wasn't a cheap one, but I noticed the one I have on my deck is starting to crack, and I've only had it out there for a year. So that just tells me that's why I was going to build my own. So anyways, I'm going to get the planter. I'm going to do that. I can always change my mind later. How about that? So let's get rolling on planting this rose. So the sun's coming around, so I've got to get this done quickly because my camera overheats in the sun. So let me get this fern pulled up out of the path. These are, I do believe they're called ostrich ferns. I'm not sure, but they come up everywhere around here. I thought they were native to the area because I've always had them, but I don't know for sure. I need to look that up. Anyways, so some beautiful succulents. This one is autumn apple, just beautiful red. Got some stuff in there. I need to take the babies out and put them in another little fairy garden. I don't know if you watched that, where I turned this terracotta pot into a little miniature garden. And now I need to move it. That bucket is a perfect stand for it. I'm going to move it somewhere into the garden where I can enjoy it. I've enjoyed walking by it every single day. It's easy for me to water right here. So I'm going to do the same out wherever I place it. So I'll do that in a minute. I'm just going to move it over there out of the way. What is that I got coming up? I got a little viola that planted itself in there. I didn't plant that. But everything in here is doing great. The only thing that didn't make it was the Scotch moss I put on this side. And yeah, because the Scotch moss made it here, and it's crawling along there. But the sedums all did great. All the Semperveriums are doing great. Yeah, I'm loving it. So I'm just going to set it over here out of the way. I even got one that's putting on babies or seeds. Okay. So move this bucket. I have these buckets all around. This one's got holes in it already. It's rusted through. But I like having them around because I can, when I go by and I'm weeding an area, I can just throw it in the bucket and then take it to the chickens. I don't know whose poor doggy must be tied up outside and they're not liking it. You probably can hear them whining. Now this was a plant I tried to overwinter and I didn't make it. So Bucket of weeds. This probably should just go in the bucket of weeds. This was a, canna. It was a real pretty one, but it didn't make it, so I need to just chuck it and take care of that bucket. Okay, let's see if this planter, I have some rebar pieces. These come in real handy around the garden. Believe it or not, I can stick them in the ground and then thread stuff around it for a little barrier. A nice stake. This area needs to be cleaned up desperately anyways. So, yeah, this already has holes in the bottom. I need to take the plastic off of it and see if it's going to fit there. Yep, it fits perfectly. And because it's narrow, I can walk by so easily. So I'm going to take the plastic off. Let me get my scissors. And we will proceed to filling it with dirt. I don't know how much of this. I have one bag of the potting soil, 1.5 cubic foot in the greenhouse. So we'll see how far that goes. I was supposed to get a load of the turkey compost today, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think it may be too hot for the person that was going to bring it. So I should rake that out right there. Let me see, where's my little rake? Right over there. Excuse me. Sometimes I just step through here. It's easier than going all the way around. Okay, I just want to get some of the debris out in here. Pine needles and stuff. The only thing about pine trees is you're constantly battling pine needles. Flying everywhere. Yeah. Perfect. Now, I could put some chicken debris in the bottom to help bring up the level, and that would work great because the rose isn't that deep yet, and it would take a while to get down there. It'll compost before it does. So I could do that to help with filling this up. So I'm going to dump that out in the chicken pen. I'm going to get me a load of chicken manure and fill that up. Actually, this is debris from the chicken pen. It's not fresh manure. It's full of carbon, so it's not hot or as hot to be worried about. So I'm going to do that really quick, and I'll be right back. Alrighty. Shoveled me some debris from the chicken pen. I had one gal comment, am I straight? Ooh. Let's let that settle down and I'll check the camera. Guess I had bumped it or it moved or something. So, I dumped this in here. It may have been crooked, but I dumped it. I was going to say that I had one lady comment that when she saw my chicken pen, what a dirty chicken pen I had. Guys, the floor is dirt. I haven't taught them how to clean yet, dust, etc. Now, the dirt floor, I throw straw in there. They scrape through it, do their thing, and they compost it. What I just dug up was the most beautiful. It still had hay in it, pieces of debris from the garden, because when I pull up weeds, I throw it in there. They scratch through it, they eat it, they do their thing on it, and they are the most beautiful composters in the world. You can't do that in, I don't know what she's expecting in a chicken pen. But I've seen fancy chicken sites where they have sand in there and they have a pooper scooper and they go in every day and they poop scoop and scoop poop, whatever. I let them do their thing. If you ever seen them in a barnyard, which I did often in my grandparents' farm, they're right out there in the cow poop, scraping through it and pecking at whatever they could find. So, yeah, them picking through grass and debris and the dirt that's in there, it does them no harm. And they bathe in the dirt. That's what chickens bathe in, is dirt. I don't know what she was expecting, but I thought that is the weirdest comment I've ever had. I have had chickens for 40 years. My grandparents before me had had them all their lives. They lived to their 80s. My mom had them. I know what I'm doing with taking care of chickens, and that chicken pen is perfect conditions for chickens. I guess she expects me to go out there and, I don't know, scoop poop every day? But it incorporates into the soil or whatever, makes the most beautiful garden compost. Let me tell you, my garden, you've seen how beautiful it is? They get a lot of chicken poop out there. So, let's get back to rose planting. Now, that 5-gallon bucket, I would say put about 4 inches in there. So now I'm going to get my potting soil, and I'm going to see how far that will go, and I may have to go get the other bag that I have. This rose over here is going crazy. This is Cecile Bruner. It's supposed to be climbing up and over my chicken house, but I'm going to paint my chicken house, so I had to pull it away. Actually, I dug it up. This is what I had left, a little piece in the ground, and that's what came up from that little piece in the ground. So that's why you want own root roses right there. So yeah, this is not quite a full bag, so I don't think it's gonna go very far in here, but we can try. I would say it brought it up to half. Now, I'm gonna take this out, and I have a garden center, an Ace Garden Center, just a mile up the road from me. I do not know what the backing up beeping is from. So yeah. I want to get this down a ways in there. How do you think that's going to look? I think it's going to be pretty. So I have that sitting down where I will have the soil coming up over the stem, probably 3 inches. Now, I'm not sure if this is grafted. It doesn't look like it, but you never know. In the winter, if I want to protect the graft, I would mound soil up around it or put a collar around it. That would insulate it. But this is perfect. I can train it up, probably both sides, or I could put a trellis here. That's a good idea. To put a trellis here to let it climb up. And in the winter, it will not block sunlight or enough to matter. And in the summer, it will, because it'll fill out and it'll help maybe a little bit provide shade, because this greenhouse gets very, very hot. Okay, so I'm going to grab my other bag of soil, I'm going to bring it over here, and I'm going to fill it up the rest of the way if there's enough. This is where I really love getting that big pile. I get a yard or 2 yards of the turkey. It's organic turkey compost, but it makes the best potting soil. And when I have a big pile of it, I can fill so many containers without having to go and get plastic bags full of stuff. I just, with my husband's truck not working so far this year, they can't find the problem yet. So when they find the problem, I just miss having a truck so bad. Okay, so I'm gonna go get that other bag of potting soil. So do you think that's too much? These do get larger. Let me see how large they say they get. 16 high, could be 18 to 24 wide, but in a container, maybe they wouldn't get quite so big. Do you think that's overwhelming? It might be for now, but they might be gorgeous here after this gets larger. So that's something to think about. I could also plant my jalapenos here. This is a nice hot spot for the time being, and I can decide on what else I want later. That's kind of a nice dual purpose for this spot. And I could support the jalapenos on the trellis too. Let me go get the trellis piece that I'm thinking. So I took the sedge out for now because I was thinking of cutting a piece. I think I have some smaller pieces over there, but of this type paneling I'll attach it here, and then the rose can just climb up it. I also have the one that has the wider squares that I could use as well. So those are 2 thoughts for that. So I'm going to think about that. The sun's hitting here, so I'm just going to water this in for now. Then we'll come back in when it's early morning and shady. We'll set up the trellis for it. Okay, let's see, what do I have it on? Perfect. Now it's a really, really hot day, so I want to make sure I get this well watered. You can plant on really hot days as long as, like this, I didn't really disturb the roots. The roots were all within that clump of soil that was in the pot, and keep it hydrated. So I'm going to make sure that this soil is good and hydrated, and then I'll come out in a couple hours and do this again, and that way I know that this rose has a good chance. I could also provide a little bit of shade for it. I have an umbrella I could stick out here and see how that works. Wash off the stains on it. But I don't know if you can see this right here, but it's chipping. So yeah, this one wasn't even getting used. So I don't know, I got this at Home Depot. They were like $80, but I think a wood one would be just fine, made with cedar. I use cedar fence boards and stuff like that. It makes it really easy. In fact, maybe we'll do that together one day soon, do a project like that and make one of these boxes. It's nice because of the narrowness of it. You can fit it in tight spots. So, okay. Got it watered. I will come back again, like I said, in a couple hours, water more. So this has been sitting in this area. Let me talk to you this way. This has actually been sitting in this area in its pot, so it's kind of used to this heat right here, the conditions right here. So I don't think it'll struggle too much. I will deadhead the roses that are spent and the petals falling off. As I said, I'll keep a close eye on it, and we'll see how it goes. If not, if it doesn't work, and this thing croaks. This is one of those cheap roses. I don't know, can you see this rose trying to get in the way? Yeah, it's right there in front of you. Sorry. Anyways, I am about to do a project with cuttings, and it's a new way for me. It's supposed to work really well. It's supposed to be faster than the traditional way I do it. So that should be fun and interesting to try, and I'll take you along on that. I'm not going to get that posted today or videoed today because the sun's about to hit the greenhouse, and I'll do that in the greenhouse with you. So that is that chore done. Planting a climbing rose in front of the greenhouse. We'll see how this works. To finish this off, I just put a couple screws into the side of the greenhouse, and then I hung this piece of remesh as a trellis, and I've got some Morning Glories. This is the Heavenly Blue, and then here is, look at the rose, it's already putting on new growth from being transplanted in here. So let me move this out of the way. See how it's going to look. Ignore my anemone there, but I think it's going to be gorgeous growing up this, and then I will train it up over to the peak, or maybe over top of the area there over the door. So it's going to be fun.